World leaders are calling for an end to the devastating war on drugs. In a letter to the UN, they said, quote, "Humankind cannot afford a 21st century drug policy as ineffective and counterproductive. Currently, the world's focus remains on criminalizing drug abuse." Experts who are attending the UN Special Conference say that approach has created a huge illegal market that has enriched criminal organizations, corrupted governments, triggered explosive violence, skewed economic markets, and alarmingly funded terrorism. President Obama is introducing his solution and is spending $1.1 billion to implement a two-pronged approach to tackle the drug epidemic. First, his plan will expand access to treatment, and second, he will expand state-level drug prevention centers.
The Department of Justice is working very closely with our Office of Drug Policy to find ways that we can improve at the federal level re-entry programs, drug treatment, and so forth.
Notably absent from next week's three-day special UN session on drugs is Mexico's President Nieto. Advocates say his absence underscores his reluctance to seriously address a problem that has claimed more than 100,000 lives. The world has been fighting the war on drugs for almost a half a century. It started in 1969 with President Richard Nixon's Operation Intercept. Skeptics say it's impossible to wage a war on a substance. While the solution remains elusive, the latest twist may force world leaders to solve the age-old drug war, as terrorists have learned the drug trade is highly profitable, and they are using that money to expand global terrorism.
And San Diego News contributor Kimberly Dvorak is joining us this morning to explain what the UN hopes to accomplish this week. Let's start off by talking, this is a major breakthrough that they're actually saying, okay, we need to start here at home, the two-pronged approach the President is suggesting we go after.
I think we're highlighting it now. I think we're seeing in this country a lot more people that are becoming addicted to not only illegal drugs, but prescription drugs, and namely this Oxycontin, which is prescribed for pain, and a lot of people are becoming addictive. It's a very highly addictive drug.
Right. Where are these centers, with the state-level drug prevention centers? What would those...
Presume that they're going to be in large cities like a Los Angeles or San Diego or Sacramento or things like that here in California. That will be where the problem is the biggest. I think what the president is talking about, especially with Oxycontin that was brought up in the primary election in New Hampshire, is that there's a GAO report where the Oxycontin has been, there's been an increase over the past few years from 76 million doses to 204 million doses. And in some cases, you're seeing the drug manufacturers actually giving out coupons to these doctors. So patients are taking this, not really knowing or maybe not even asking the questions, you know, should I be taking this and what are the consequences of...
And these are highly addictive.
Very, I mean, it's like heroin. We talk about heroin and we think of it in Mexico being, transported across the border, and, we see it in the Middle East, and we see now that, terrorists are learning that the easiest way to fund their campaign is on the war with illegal drugs. And you're seeing countries around the world stepping together, as we'll see this week in the UN, saying...
What can we expect from the special conference this week?
Well, we're going to talk about it. That's what governments do. And whether we come up with a solution on how to actually tackle this will remain to be seen. But Mexico's president did bow to pressure from his own country and will be attending the event at the UN next week. So hopefully there will be some sort of discussion about this. But in all fairness to the people out there who have been fighting this for a long time, it's most likely a lot of words, and remains to be seen if we can actually do something to solve this problem.
Well, as you mentioned in your story, it's an age-old war that we've been fighting. There's a lot of victims that fall victim to the drug war on drugs.
Yeah.
I know.
And Afghanistan's a prime example of this, where now they're, we're leaving and their, poppy fields are tripling, and they're realizing...
Popping up everywhere.
Everywhere.
All right, Kimberly Dvorak continuing with us. For more on her story, you can just go to